One of the easiest ways to get a free hotel night year after year is by simply holding the right credit card. Listen up as we take a deep dive into hotel free night certificates and share some of our favorite ways to use them. Welcome to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. We are three moms who've discovered how to leverage credit card welcome offers to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in travel expenses for nearly free. We've used credit card points and miles to take vacations to places like Hawaii, Paris, Greece, the Maldives, Italy, and so much more. And the best part? We each still have an 800 plus credit score. Imagine being able to book a vacation without having to check your bank account. It's totally possible, and we're here to show you how. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. We are travel hacking moms. Today, we're going to talk all about hotel free night certificates. We'll go over how you can get them, which hotels offer them, and some of our favorite ways we've used them. First, let's go over what free night certificates are and how to earn them.
Okay, so free night certificates, as the name implies, are certificates that you can use for free hotel nights. So a lot of times these will come as an annual benefit on your hotel branded credit card. So if you pay the annual fee on the card, you will then get this free night certificate. They typically come the second year that you've had your card. You don't usually get them the first year that you open your card. You can also earn free night certificates for staying a certain number of nights with the hotel or spending a certain amount of money on your hotel branded credit card.
Another way that I really like to earn a free night annual certificate is Hyatt has what's called the Hyatt Brand Explorer Award. And so that means that every time you stay 5 times at a different Hyatt hotel, you'll get a free night certificate. And I really love this. Both my husband and I have earned that for staying at 5 different Hyatt hotels. I've stayed since then at 4 other different Hyatt hotel brands. So I'm only one stay away from getting that again. And so I think that's a really easy way to get a free Hyatt stay.
Yeah, that is a great one. So another reason we love our free night certificates is because we can combine them or book more than one night by using the free night certificates that our Player 2 has as well. So my husband and I have done this, my mom and I have done this. And this is nice because, it's cool getting a one free hotel night. It's handy, but it's really cool when you can get a whole weekend stay somewhere using free night certificates. So that's kind of what we try to do with ours, more so now that my husband and I both have some of these cards.
Yeah, we did the same thing. And we also try, whenever we get a co-branded hotel card, we try to open them around the same time. So that anniversary night hits around the same time. Like we both have it to where our Hyatt night hits like in April. And so I know in April, I'm going to be able to book, a weekend stay somewhere with both of our free Hyatt night certificates.
Yeah, that's super nice. So let's go through and talk about the different hotel programs and how their free night certificates work. Mom, do you want to kick it off for us and let's talk about IHG?
Yeah, so my husband and I both have the IHG card, so we do each get a free night certificate every year, and we use them all the time. The IHG free night certificate comes with the personal and business cards. Both of these cards have a $99 annual fee. I'm able to then book a hotel that is always worth at least $200. So to me, it's a no-brainer to keep those cards. $99 to get a $200 plus hotel is just a great savings. And so it's just a no-brainer to me. They'll always remain in my wallet. The free night certificate is good for a hotel stay of up to 40 points. But the really good news is that you can top off those 40,000 points with more points that you may have from IHG to stay at a nicer hotel. And what I really like about this annual night certificate from IHG is that there is no limit on the amount of points you can top off like there is with Marriott. And so it's really a great deal. So recently I used a free night certificate to stay in Sydney, Australia, and we stayed at a beautiful hotel. It's a Kimpton hotel. Let me just tell you, I love IHG Kimpton brand. Love it, love it, love it. They're kind of boutique hotels. They're just really distinct and different. This Sydney Margot would have cost us probably about $300. I used a free night certificate and added just a few thousand points more to stay there. It had a 50s vibe. They were playing jazz music. It was the coolest hotel. I loved it. And so I will always keep that card. What are some of the favorite ways that you guys have used your IHG certificates?
Well, another one I was thinking of, Mom, is by the time this airs, we'll actually have come back from our trip to the Kempton Sea Fire in Grand Cayman. And one of those nights, we originally booked it for 4 nights, but then the day that we had booked it to fly out was way more expensive. And if we just went one day earlier, we could save a lot of points for our flights. So we thought, well, maybe we should just stay for 5 nights. So we used a free night certificate to stay there. It's 70,000 points a night. The hotel goes for over $1,000 a night. So we had to top off, add 30,000 points to that 40K certificate. But being able to essentially pay like 30,000 points extra for a over $1,000 night hotel was really, really cool. So I think that was a great use for that free night certificate. We've only used the free night certificate once because we haven't had our IHG card for very long. We actually have a free night sitting there that we need to use. Another one, maybe we should have done 6 nights, Mom. But we stayed at the Crown Plaza at the JFK airport. And it wasn't like, oh, this was the most amazing stay ever. But it was really handy and really nice to not have to pay for our hotel stay when we were just going to be sleeping there for the night. We got in late, we left early, and the hotel had a shuttle that took us to the airport. So it worked out really nice. And so sometimes for me, the free night certificates are really nice for stays like that, where you just need a random one-off night by an airport hotel.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I don't have the IHG card anymore. I used to. I also used to have the Marriott card that came with a free night certificate. But during the height of the pandemic, I was just like depressed because I was like, I'm never traveling again. And so I just canceled all of my hotel cards other than my Hyatt card. So I kind of regret doing that now. But I was like, I'm never going to be able to use these again. And I just canceled them all. So I don't have the IHG card anymore, but I did have it. And I used mine also in New York City in 2018. I used it for the Hotel Indigo Lower East Side. And it was a really nice hotel. But like you said, Alex, I am the same way with my free night certificates. I kind of just use them when I need a random night. I was going to New York with some friends, and I feel like New York is always a good place to use free night certificates because hotels there are so expensive. And so yeah, so I got really good. I think my hotel was like at least $300 a night that I got for free, using that certificate. So definitely a good use of it there.
Before we get into the Hyatt free night certificates, I want to let you know that since we recorded this episode, Hyatt has released award chart changes that are going into effect on March 28th, 2023. So some of these hotels that we mentioned with Hyatt that you can use your category 1 through 4 certificates at, you actually won't be able to use them at some of them, like the Hyatt Regency Amsterdam, after March 28th. So if you want to learn more about these changes, head to our blog post. We have a link in the show notes. It's all about Hyatt award chart changes. Let's go ahead now. And of course, we have the Queen of Hyatt to talk about the Hyatt free night certificates. So Jess, take it away.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Pam.
I mean, we all love Hyatt, but we can't compete with you.
And I'm converting Pam. So like I said, I canceled all my hotel cards other than my Hyatt card. That one I have had. I think my Hyatt card was like one of the first cards I ever opened. So I've had that one. I've used a lot of annual free night from my Hyatt card. So with Hyatt, you get a category 1 to 4 free night every year on your anniversary. So that is one of the reasons why the Hyatt card is a keeper for us. And I think we've talked in a previous episode about how the welcome offer on the Hyatt card isn't really the greatest. But for me, the reason I keep my Hyatt card is more for the benefits that you get long term with that card, like the free annual night, like the 5 nights that count towards elite status. Those are things that just keep me coming back to the Hyatt card. So every year on your 1-year anniversary, you get a category 1 to 4 free night. And you can also, like Pam said, get a free night with Hyatt by playing the Hyatt Bingo, where you stay at 5 different brands. You can also get a free night after you spend $15,000 on the personal card in a single calendar year. And so that's really nice. For that reason, sometimes if I have a lot of spend coming up towards the end of the year, I will sometimes just put it on my Hyatt card to hit that 15K and or put my taxes on there, just to get a free night. Also, once you stay 30 nights, or you don't even have to stay, once you have accumulated 30 qualifying elite nights in a year, you also get a free night from Hyatt. So there are ways to get so many free nights with Hyatt. Like, I think my husband and I each get at least 3 free nights a year each between the annual free night certificate just from having the card, the 15K spend, and staying and getting the 30 nights. So that's 6 Hyatt nights between the two of us every year that we get just for doing those simple things with the card.
Well, and with how much you guys stay, you're probably getting the bingo ones too. Staying at those different brands.
So we've each gotten the bingo once, like we've each gotten 5, and then I'm where Pam is. I'm currently at 9. So I just have one more. I have to stay at like one more unique brand, and then I'll get another free night from that. And the really cool thing is that if you accumulate 60 nights, which I know is a lot, and I know not everyone can do that, but I've been consistently doing that for the past couple of years through a combination of actual stays and spend. You can get a category 1 to 7 free night certificates once you hit 60 nights. So I actually just redeemed mine for a night at the Grand Hyatt Kauai, which would have cost like $1,200 for that night. I redeemed that free night certificate for one night there. So those can have amazing value because the upper or the category 6s and the category 7s are the like luxury, very expensive Hyatt properties. Okay, so I thought we could talk about some of our favorite ways that we have used our category 1 to 7 free night certificates. I will go first. We recently used ours to stay at the Hyatt Regency Amsterdam. We were actually there over New Year's, and we had to get 2 rooms because there were 6 of us. And so the Hyatt Regency Amsterdam is a category 4. So my husband booked one room and I booked one room. And so he used points for his room. So his was like 45,000 points for 3 nights because it was 15,000 points a night. And then for my room, I used 3 category 1 to 4 free night certificates that we had accumulated. And it was amazing. Like, we were in our room watching the fireworks for New Year's. And I'm like, I can't believe this room was free. Like, we used 3 free night certificates for this room. Now we're watching the fireworks on New Year's from our window in Amsterdam. And like, it's an amazing value if you're going to Europe.
And I can't imagine that hotel night would have been cheap for New Year's Eve night.
No, I think that they were like $500 or $600. So basically, a card that we paid $95 for got us, $1,800 in value just from these free nights that we've accumulated by holding the card and by staying with Hyatt, being loyal to Hyatt, and by just putting some extra spend on the card to get that free night certificate after spending $15,000.
That is so great. I'm laughing because you're talking about seeing the fireworks. Well, the last Hyatt free annual night certificate that I used was at the Hyatt Regency in Sydney, Australia. I used quite a few annual night certificates on our recent trip. And we were there for Australia days, and they had upgraded us to a suite. So we were sitting in a suite over Darling Harbor watching fireworks on our free night certificate too. So it was just a really cool room, wide expanse of windows. And I just kept thinking, oh my goodness, I didn't even use really points on this. This was for an annual night certificate that I got an upgrade on too. And I just thought I was just so lucky. But I too use a lot of my Hyatt free annual night certificates when I'm going to fly out of Denver really early. I live about an hour away from Denver. And so it just makes sense sometimes if I'm leaving at 7:45 and I need to be at the airport before 6, that's not something that I love to do. So I will use a lot of my free night certificates from Hyatt to go to a Hyatt place that's really close to the airport.
If I'm finding it interesting because, like, on one end of the spectrum, you're in this suite at Darling, like sitting near Darling Harbor, watching the fireworks, like this magical thing. And the next one, you're at the airport hotel in Denver. So it just shows you the variety of how you can use these. You can use them for what works for you. Because I can't imagine that many of the people listening are going to be going off to Australia in Sydney and having that same experience. Like, you definitely can, but that's a little further off and a little more difficult to get to. I think using them for those airport hotel stays is just so practical, and it's just so convenient to be able to do that and not have to pay for it. And those airport hotels can still be kind of pricey sometimes. So you're making some good savings there.
Absolutely. I mean, they still usually cost me at least $200, the airport stays. But one of the things that too is that these can be used on category 1 to 4. And when I'm looking to book them, sometimes if I'm not, if I'm going somewhere, I'm looking at the category 4 ones because I want to get as much value as I can. And so that's kind of a trick too, is to look at the category 4 hotels because usually they are a little bit more luxurious and I might as well use it on a 4 as on a category 1. So I think after my recent experience, I'm going to maybe be saving them for some of those more luxurious stays and just pay for the cheap Hyatt places.
Well, hey, if you're getting three of them a year, 4 of them a year, you have plenty to go around too.
Exactly.
I have to say, I feel like the Hyatt free night certificates are my favorite ones of all of the hotels that offer them. I feel like there are so many good uses for them versus sometimes with some of the other ones, I'm like, okay, I guess we'll just use it for this Holiday Inn Express, which is fantastic, and I'm saving money. It's not like I'm going to go on a trip specifically to go stay at this Holiday Inn Express, whereas with the Hyatt free night certificates, I can use them at places where I really want to go on a trip there. So, for example, we've used them at Disneyland, and that's a great use for them. We have used them to stay at the Grand Hyatt, Washington, D.C. My mom and I did that. We went with my son for his 10th birthday. We took him, and that is a great hotel, a great location, and it's just fun to be able to use them at a place that's cool. I will say, like, my family, we love Hyatt Place, and we have used them to stay at Hyatt Place. But it's really cool that I can use them somewhere like the Grand Hyatt in DC as well. Another way that we've used our Hyatt free night certificates is to use them for staycation. So there's been times where maybe if we earned one through bingo, or my husband has one, and we're like, oh, well, we're getting towards the end of the year, and we have this free night certificate we haven't used yet. For example, this year we used one at the new Hyatt Regency in Salt Lake City, and it's an amazing hotel. It's so beautiful. We got upgraded to a suite because I have globalist status. And it was just a really fun way to use that free night certificate to take the kids out, to have a fun experience. We did it just a few days before Christmas. And so it was kind of a fun way to like spend some time together before the holidays and kind of, see the lights from the city. So we really enjoy using those for staycations too, to stay at some nicer hotels. I think, oftentimes these hotels are like $300 a night or so. So we're not going to spend $300 a night to go have a staycation, but we will use a free night certificate to do that. And so that's been really fun for us to do with my family. And young kids just love anywhere that they can go and stay at a hotel. So they're not too picky. And so it's been really fun for them.
Yeah, and that Disneyland, we've also used ours at, I know you stayed at the Hyatt Place, we stayed at the Hyatt House, but both are within the category 1 to 4. And so I think we recently looked at that one and they were like $800 or $900 a night. You're talking about getting an $800 a night room for what you paid a $95 annual fee for. So you can get major value out of these free night certificates.
Does it shock anybody that a hotel room can cost that much? I mean, I would never, ever pay that much to stay in a hotel. But I am so happy I can use a free night certificate to do it.
We were shocked because it's like a Hyatt house and a Hyatt place. We're not talking about like a Park Hyatt that's $900 a night. So I don't know what is going on at Disney this fall, but apparently something important, and we are not going to have to pay that.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing that I like about the Hyatt Free Night certificates is there's some really fun places, like I've already said, of where you can use them. One of the places that I have on my radar is the Manchester Grand Hyatt in San Diego. You've stayed there, right, Jess?
Yeah, we stayed there.
Should I use my free night certificates there?
Yeah, it was really, we were only there for one night, but it was really nice and it's super family friendly. It's really big. And like when we were there, it was a ton of families. I don't think I'd go there like for a couple's getaway. But if you had your boys with you, then I think it would be a great use of a free night certificate.
The other one that I've kind of looked into is I am not like Waikiki isn't my definition of Hawaii, but there are 2 hotels in Waikiki that you can use your Hyatt free night certificates at. And I've heard they're really great. And so I've been tempted to just like for fun, go for a long weekend, maybe take one of my kids, like, hey, we're just going to go to Oahu for a long weekend and use these free night certificates just because how cool is it to be like, oh, I used my free night certificates in Hawaii. Like that's just really cool to use a $95 a night or $95 annual fee for Hawaii.
That's crazy. And I've only been to Waikiki once, but I think it's kind of fun. So I think that's a great.
Maybe we should go.
Let's go.
Let's talk about the Marriott free night certificates. They have 3 different ones. They have a $35K free night certificate, a $50K free night certificate, and an $85K one. And with each of these, you can top them off like you can with IHG, but they do put a cap on those at up to 15,000 points each. So that is nice. You have the flexibility there to add some more points, but you can't be saying, I'm going to use my 35K certificate to book a 80,000 point hotel night. So there are limits on that. You can get these from the Marriott credit cards, these free night certificates. There are a lot of Marriott cards and it can get a little overwhelming because there are so many of them, but I'll just quickly kind of run through them. To get a 35K certificate, you can get them from the Chase Bonvoy Boundless and from the American Express Bonvoy Business. So as you see here, both Chase and American Express issue Marriott cards. Then if you wanted to get a 50K certificate, to use it at somewhere a little bit nicer, you can get those from the Chase Bonvoy Bountiful and the American Express Bonvoy Bevy. If you want an 85K certificate, you're looking at having the American Express Bonvoy Brilliant. Now, you guys, those names, I'm like saying them like, these are kind of ridiculous names, right? Do you guys agree?
So ridiculous.
Very mouthful. I don't
like, they just all sound like the exact same thing because it's Bonvoy and then another B word. So I'm not a fan of Marriott's changes.
Who names a card Bevy? Bonvoy Bevy. I think they've been made fun of quite a bit.
Yes, they have, which is kind of deserved. So the other thing is there is a Ritz Carlton card as well, and that card can get you an 85K certificate. Now, you cannot just go and open the Ritz Carlton card. It has been unavailable for a while now. They don't offer it anymore. But if you have a Chase Marriott card, then you can product change to the Ritz card. So if you want to get that 85K from your Chase Marriott card, you can. You just have to product change to it. With these cards as well, the higher your free night certificate, the more expensive your annual fee is going to be on your credit card. So if you have, for like myself, I only have the Chase Bonvoy Boundless and the American Express Bonvoy Business, and both of those are the 35K free night certificates. So you're looking at spending like $95 to $125 on your annual fee for those 2 cards. The annual fees go up to like $250 for the next tier. And then, Mom, do you remember what your cost is on your, she's the high-end Marriott roller of the group.
Yeah, I know that the Bonvoy Brilliant went up to, I believe it's $650. And I think for my Ritz, I got the Ritz when you could still apply for them. And I always keep them because I use the benefits. And I can't remember if I think I paid $550. I'm not sure. So I'd have to look that up.
But I do remember the Ritz Carlton card didn't really jump up in the annual fee cost. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. It could even be $450. I don't know. I'll look it up and get back to you on that one.
The take-home messages, there's a lot of Marriott cards. You can get a lot of free night certificates. Between my husband and I, we get 4 of these every year because I have 2 Marriott cards and he has 2 Marriott cards. So we have more than plenty to go around every year. I will say I do get value out of these cards, which is why I keep them. But there's been times where I'm not as thrilled with the available options for it. Like, I'm not going to be going to a cool destination like Hawaii using at least my 35K certificates. If you have the 50K certificate or an 85K certificate, you can get a fantastic value out of those. I just don't have those. And so typically what I use my 35K free night certificates are for my kids' sports. And it's worked out really great for us. We recently went to Southern Utah for my son's soccer tournament. We stayed 3 nights at the Spring Hill Suites there, which is a really nice hotel. We did have to add, I think, like for a couple of the nights, like 4,000 points because it was more than the 35K a night. So that's typically what I save mine for is for my kids' sports with my Marriott free night certificates because Marriott has such a large footprint that I can find a Marriott just about everywhere. And so those have been really great for that. I'm literally cannot understand how the other parents are affording to go take their kids to all of these sporting events because I look at the cash prices. Maybe they're staying at different hotels and they find good deals, but like these hotels were like $300 a night and we have 3 nights booked. That's like when you add in all the taxes and the fees, like you're looking at spending well over $1,000 for your weekend for your kids' sports. And a lot of families are doing a lot of these weekends. So I am really appreciative of my free night certificates for that reason to save on my kids' sports.
So I did look it up and I pay $450 for the Ritz Carlton card. So if someone has the Bonvoy Brilliant card and wants to product change,
you can't because that's an American Express. You mean a Bonvoy Boundless from Chase or the Bonvoy Bountiful?
yeah, so you could product change for one of those. Jess is shaking her head.
They make it really easy. It's not confusing at all.
They are ridiculous. But so anyway, so the Bonvoy Brilliant went up to $650. And I thought, okay, I'm done with that card. I'm going to get rid of that card. I thought, I'm not paying that much. But then they did something else. They changed the free annual night certificate to an 85K certificate. And my favorite way in the past to use my free annual night certificate has always been to stay at the Wailea Beach Resort in Maui. And Alex has been there and we love it. It is in a perfect location. It's just the nicest hotel. It's just zen.
So far, it's my favorite hotel in Hawaii to go with my husband. Like just the 2 of us. It's so relaxing.
Exactly. So when I was getting 50K certificates and they got rid of the word chart, I thought, okay, I'm not going to keep this card if I can't use an annual night certificate there. Well, now they bumped it up to the 85K certificate. And I'm like, okay, I think I might keep it. I'm still getting it's $650, but I get $300 a year worth of eating at restaurants, $25 a month. So that brings it down to $350. So to be able to stay at the Wailea Beach Resort for an additional $350 is worth it to me. I know I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy if you take me with you.
It is a really nice resort, and that's primarily how I use my Marriott free night certificates. And then with my Ritz Carlton, so I have 2 of the Brilliant cards, but my husband and I, we have 2 Ritz Carlton. With those, it's $450, but we get $200 of airline incidentals, and I use that for upgrades periodically. And so I'm paying $250. So I just get a huge discount on a hotel that I absolutely love. So every year I can stay there for 4 nights on annual night certificates, and that's what I do.
I think the way you worded that is perfect, Mom, because you're getting a discounted stay. Those annual fees are high. They do come with some really other great benefits to offset those fees. So you're getting a really nice discounted stay at a fantastic hotel that you love, which now, with them getting rid of their reward chart, can cost you on the low end 70. I don't even know if that might even be not even true. It might even be 80K on the low end, 80,000 points a night up to 100,000 points a night. So being able to kind of get your foot in the door still there without having to rack up as many Marriott points is a good idea in my book.
Yep, that's my plan.
Okay. And like I've said, I did at one point have a Marriott card. I don't remember which one it was, but I'm confident that it started with a B. So I had a Marriott card. I canceled it. And mine, honestly, I know it was one of the lower ones because I just had like the 35K free night certificate. But my thing, Alex, was I totally agree with you. I was purely using my Marriott free nights for staycations because I couldn't find anywhere else I really wanted to go that I could also use a 35K free night certificate at. And so I got to a point where I'm like, why am I paying an annual fee to just like constantly redeem it for a staycation? Like, our staycation's nice, yes, but like, do I need to take a staycation twice a year to use my free night certificate?
Well, no, like, yeah, with the amount that you guys are already traveling, you don't need a staycation. Like, I think a staycation is fantastic, especially where maybe you're not traveling a ton. You just want to be able to do something special with your family. Then a staycation is a wonderful way to do that. But if you're already traveling a lot and then it gets to be the point where it's kind of a headache where you're like, oh man, I have this free night that's going to expire and I feel like you start to feel guilty if you don't use it. So you're going out of your way and it's taking time and stress out of your life to go and use your free night
Yeah.
certificate.
So that's the point I was at, which is why I ended up canceling the card. But I will say we used it at the Marriott Marquis in Houston, and I kind of want to take y'all there next time you come because they have a lazy river in the shape of Texas. So it was a really nice hotel. It was very cool. Location's great. My daughter loved the pool. It was amazing. But like you said, it was becoming more of a headache to redeem those free nights than I felt it was worth it. So I got rid of it.
One thing I want to add too, I know we've talked about the Marriott cards and the names and how they're confusing. What's also confusing is they have rules based off like if you have the Chase card and you want to get an Amex Marriott card, there's waiting periods for the different cards you want to open and you might not be eligible. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a link in the show note, like chart that will show you what cards you're eligible for if you want to get a Marriott card, but you already have some, to kind of show you which cards you're eligible for and which ones you're not. So we will put that in the show notes so you won't be confused and then go and apply for a card you're not even eligible for.
I think that those rules that they have are probably some of the hardest rules I've ever seen in travel hacking. It is really confusing, and I'm just really happy that before they started all those rules, I got all the Marriott cards. And so I have cards that you're not even supposed to have at the same time because I did it. There's one good reason that I was OCD, and that's it. So I have a ton of free Marriott annual night certificates every year because I didn't have to follow all those crazy rules.
Yeah. And the crazy rules with the crazy names just makes it a whole mess. So get that spreadsheet down in our show notes so you don't have to be so lost in all the Marriott madness.
Great. So last but not least, Hilton does have one card that comes with a free night certificate. The interesting thing is I think that Alex thought that I've had this card and that I have a free night certificate, but I've never had that. The only card that comes with a free night certificate for Hilton is a Hilton Aspire. It does have an annual fee of $450, but you can use this annual night certificate at a hotel that costs much more. In fact, this annual night certificate may be the best annual night certificate because you can use it literally at any hotel, any Hilton hotel. There's not a category cap. There's nothing. We could have used, if I'd had one of these we could have used it at the Conrad Bora Bora. It's really good. I just have never gotten the Spire card yet. You get the free night certificate when you open the card, which is also unusual. And every year on your account anniversary, plus you get another one if you spend $60,000 on the card in a year.
Which you're probably not going to do.
Right.
But if you want to, if you're a Hilton diehard, then that is an option for you.
Right. You can also earn a free weekend night award from Hilton Surpass and the Hilton business cards if you spend $15,000 on the card in a calendar year. So that's another way to get one. I'd be more willing to do that than the other way, but I'm probably not going to do either way. I plan to at some point get the Spire card because I just think that annual night certificate is pretty cool. And they do have some benefits that pretty much virtually take care of that annual fee. So at some point, I'm not ready to give a 5 and 24 spot right now, but at some point I probably will.
I would say that of all the Hilton cards, even though it has a higher annual fee, I think it's probably the best one. Maybe not to keep it long term, but when I decide I'm eventually going to go open some of these Hilton cards and I'm going to go on a very amazing stay. But when I do, I'm going to get this card because the ability to be able to get the free night certificate when you open the card, not just on your account anniversary, but when you open it, and to be able to get it, if you get it when there's a bunch of a really high offer, you could use, get 2 nights at a really great property. And then if I got the business card, that'd be another night. So you could kind of make it work by opening a few of these cards to get a really amazing stay.
So where's this amazing stay you're going to stay at?
Yeah, Alex, where is it?
Well, Jess and I have been talking. I really want to go to the Waldorf Astoria in Los Cabos, Pedregal. I don't know if I said that right, but that's where I want to go. I've heard it's one of the most amazing hotels. I originally was going to say Bora Bora, but Mom, you took me there.
Well, you know who you're taking when you do this Waldorf Astoria.
The other thing I do want to say is it can be hard with Hilton to find these aspirational free nights, like at these aspirational properties, because you have to use them when there's standard award availability. So that for these properties, usually that's 120,000 points a night. If you're not finding at the high end properties like the one in Los Cabos at the Waldorf Astoria or at the Conrad Bora Bora or the Conrad Maldives, a lot of those places are going to cost you 120,000 points a night. And so if you're seeing hotel nights, which this is going to sound crazy, but it is not, you will look and you will see nights going for like 500,000 points a night, 1 million points a night, 350,000 points a night. You cannot use your free night certificate on those nights. You will need to wait until you find a 120,000 point standard room availability to use those free night certificates. You can obviously use them at places that cost less. I'm just planning on when I eventually get it to use it at a really fancy place.
Yeah. And I just got the Aspire last year. So when I canceled all my hotel cards, I had a Hilton card that I didn't cancel because there was no annual fee on it. So I was like, well, I'm just going to keep it. Like I wasn't getting a free night certificate, but there also wasn't an annual fee. So I just kept it. Last year, I got an upgrade offer at the end of last year to upgrade my free Hilton card to an Aspire. And so I got 100,000 Hilton points after I spent $4,000 in 3 months. The only reason I took it was because with an upgrade, it doesn't count towards 524. It's considered the same account. And so I basically got the Hilton Aspire without having to take up a 524 spot. So I got a welcome offer. It wasn't as good as the normal one, but it was an offer. And I also got my free night certificate that I can use at any Hilton. So like Alex said, I have been eyeing the Waldorf in Cabo. I'm just hoping that availability opens up at some point before my certificate expires.
Exactly, because that is tough. When I was looking at Bora, it took me, I looked for almost a year. It was really tough. So it's kind of hard sometimes for the aspirational properties.
I think sometimes those award nights tend to open up as it gets closer. And so if you're in that position where you have some of these free nights are expiring, you might need to do kind of a last minute trip. Because I was just looking and I saw availability at the Waldorf Astoria in Cabo. Then the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but then I keep looking and there is nothing. So might have to be a little last minute, which is not necessarily the way we typically do things, but we could make it work for Waldorf Astoria. Maybe we need to have our next Travel Hacking Mom retreat there. I could scrounge up some points between now and then and we can make it work. You know where I would use my Hilton free night certificate if I had them? Where would you two use yours?
I did use mine in Bora Bora.
What would you do now if you had more?
I don't know. I haven't. I'd probably stay in a Waldorf Astoria somewhere just because that is such a great brand. But I also might go to the Bora Bora Maldives.
You mean the Hilton Conrad Maldives?
Well, that's it.
Bora Bora Maldives would be interesting. I think that looks amazing too, Mom. I would love to go there. Jess, we know what you're doing, right? You're booking us a stay at Los Cabos?
Yep. Hilton, hit me up. Open up a room for me. All right. So if you want to guarantee yourself a discounted hotel night every year, get yourself one of the hotel branded credit cards that we have discussed in today's episode. We've included a link to our best cards page in the show notes. On that page, you can filter it by categories and select hotels. From there, you can see all the best offers on hotel branded credit cards. Thanks so much for listening to the Travel Hacking Mom Show. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Hacking Mom. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.